All right, strap in, everybody. We're going deep today.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
We're going deep into Rick Rubin's The Creative Act.
Okay.
This book.
A Way of Being.
A Way of Being, that's right.
I love that subtitle.
It's a fascinating look at creativity.
It really is.
Not just for artists, for everyone.
Yeah, and I love that about it. It kind of takes away that whole tortured artist myth, Like, it's not about being
depressed,
yeah.
in a garret cell.
It's more about tapping into this energy.
This creative energy that's everywhere.
All around us, yeah. So
he says,
we're all creative.
Everyone is inherently creative.
Right.
And he compares it to like a peach tree.
Yeah.
Bearing fruit. It's just this natural process.
That's a good analogy.
We all have that potential.
So I'm walking around with a peach tree inside me.
Exactly. Waiting to blossom.
To bear fruit.
Yes. And it's not limited to just traditional art forms.
No. He even uses like the Golden Gate Bridge. A Philly cheese. Very different.
I like how broad he makes that definition.
It's very inclusive.
Okay, so how do we cultivate this? How do we water this peach tree?
Nurture.
That's the word.
This creative potential.
He talks a lot about sensitivity.
He does, yeah.
Sensitivity is like a superpower.
It's interesting. Artist. Because you think of artists as being sometimes
sensitive.
A little intense.
Yes, a little extra.
Right.
But that's how they experience things. It's like...
It's how they fit in high definition.
They're feeling things more deeply, picking up on subtlety.
Nuances
that other people miss.
It's like
an antenna.
Picking up on signals.
Yeah, it's picking up all this information.
Wow. Okay, so we got our peach tree. We're cultivating sensitivity.
We're getting there.
What else? What else is in this framework?
Well, he introduces this model of the creative process. He calls it the source, the vessel, and the filter.
Oh, okay. Break that down. So imagine the source as this limitless wellspring of energy. It's like universal Wi-Fi.
Universal Wi-Fi for creativity.
For ideas, exactly.
So we're all connected.
We all have access.
Okay, I like that.
But our ability to tap into it depends on the other two.
The vessel and the filter.
The vessel.
So the vessel is like our capacity.
The capacity to receive.
To hold those ideas.
To contain them, almost like a container.
Okay.
That determines how much energy we can take in.
Gotcha.
And the filter is our unique lens of perception.
So we all receive that same signal, but it comes out.
But we interpret it
differently
based on our experiences, beliefs, and perspectives.
So it's personalized.
It is. It's very personal.
I like that.
It's about...
We can cultivate that, can't we?
We can cultivate that.
Expand our vessel, refine our filter.
Yes, through conscious effort.
And practice. Practice.
It's not just about waiting for that lightning bolt.
That's right.
We can actually do things.
Be proactive.
To be more receptive.
He talks about surrounding ourselves with greatness.
He does, yes.
Immersing ourselves in.
Art that inspires us.
In great art.
Literature, music, film.
Architecture, nature.
Even architecture.
I like that.
He believes it expands our awareness.
It makes sense.
Refines our taste.
If you want to create great things.
Then ultimately elevates.
Around yourself.
Our own expression.
With great things.
That's the idea.
So we got to feed our creative soul.
Absolutely.
With masterpieces.
Masterpieces and nature.
Nature. How does nature play into this?
He's a big believer in spending time in nature.
Because it's awe-inspiring.
It's awe-inspiring.
It is. It's magnificent.
And he thinks that helps us tap into a deeper well of inspiration.
How so?
It reminds us of our connection.
To everything.
To the universe.
Right.
It helps us see the world with fresh eyes.
With new eyes.
It allows us to appreciate
the beauty
in unexpected places.
And it's full of patterns, rhythms.
It is. Nature's full of these intricate patterns.
That we can draw from.
And rhythms.
Wow. So it's not just about taking a hike to clear our heads.
Yeah.
It's really about
actively engaging.
Observing. Absorbing. Letting that inform our creative process.
Exactly.
Wow, I love that.
And while we're on that topic of expanding awareness.
Okay.
Rubin also encourages us to explore.
Go inward.
Our inner landscape.
Our thoughts, feelings.
Memories,
even our dreams.
He's saying there's creative gold in there.
He believes our subconscious is a rich source of material.
And how do we access that?
He recommends things like dream journaling.
Ooh, interesting.
And free writing.
I've heard of dream journaling, never done it consistently.
It's about paying attention to those fleeting images, those bizarre narratives.
It's like a whole other world in there.
It is. It's like a whole other world.
So we're decoding secret messages.
Almost like deciphering this symbolic language of our inner world.
I like that. Which can then inform our creative expression.
And free writing, what's that all about?
It's about letting go of self-censorship.
Just let it flow.
Let those words flow onto the page.
Just brain dump.
Without judgment.
Okay.
Without overthinking.
That sounds freeing.
It is. It's very freeing.
Okay.
It's a way to bypass that inner critic.
That's always there.
That's always judging us.
Always.
And to tap into a more
authentic,
spontaneous, authentic stream of consciousness.
All right.
And it can be a surprisingly effective way.
For what?
To generate ideas, to uncover hidden themes.
To get unstuck.
Even break through creative blocks.
So we're giving our subconscious permission to speak.
To speak freely.
I like that.
Without being edited or filtered.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Okay, this is good stuff.
Yeah. And he also emphasizes embracing imperfection.
Oh, that's hard.
It is hard.
Especially for artists.
Especially for artists. They're always striving.
They want it perfect.
Imperfection.
But he says lower the stakes.
Lower the stakes.
Make mistakes.
Allow yourself to make mistakes.
Don't judge.
Experiment without fear of judgment.
Because that's how you discover things.
That's how you open yourself up.
To breakthroughs.
To those unexpected breakthroughs.
Unexpected.
Yes, those happy accidents.
He compares mistakes to kintsugi.
Oh, I love that analogy.
It's where they repair broken pottery.
With gold.
Highlighting the cracks.
The imperfections instead of hiding them.
Yes.
That's so beautiful.
It is.
So our mistakes.
They add depth.
They add character to our work.
They add character. They make it unique.
Unique. I love that.
It's about viewing imperfection.
As opportunities.
Not as flaws, but as opportunities.
Oh, okay. Wow.
For growth and transformation.
This is giving me a whole new perspective.
I love that.
On failure.
It's not something to be ashamed of.
It's something to embrace and even celebrate.
All right, I'm celebrating failure today.
I love it.
Okay, what else? What else do we have?
You know, he also has some interesting things to say about collaboration.
Collaboration.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
So what's his take?
He believes that collaboration, when approached with open communication,
mutual respect,
commitment
to the work,
can be incredibly powerful.
It's more than just bouncing ideas off each other.
It is. It's about creating a synergy.
A synergy.
Where the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts.
Okay.
He even shares an anecdote about a well-known singer-songwriter.
Okay, tell me more.
Who prioritizes inspiration above all else. Even social obligations.
To illustrate the importance of honoring that creative impulse.
Yeah.
So when it strikes,
you gotta
go with it.
You gotta go with it.
That's inspiring. I like that.
It's very inspiring.
You know, sometimes you get those sparks, and if you ignore them,
they can fizzle out.
They fizzle out.
They can disappear.
You got to seize the moment.
Seize the moment.
That's right. Okay, now.
Speaking of sparks.
We should talk about rules.
Rules? I thought creativity was all about breaking the rules.
Well, he does encourage us to question assumptions.
To challenge.
Challenge conventional wisdom.
Okay.
But he views rules more as guidelines, points of reference.
Not absolute.
Not absolute truths.
So we got to know the rules to know when to break them.
Exactly.
He even uses the example of Georges Perrec's novel.
Written without the letter E.
What? That's crazy.
I know, it's a very extreme example.
That's impressive.
But it highlights the point.
That sometimes the most innovative work
comes from challenging limitations. Venturing beyond the familiar.
Okay, so it's not about following blindly.
No.
It's about understanding. Pushing against. Bending, breaking. And seeing what happens. I like that.
It's about experimentation. And that brings us to another aspect.
What's that?
Of his philosophy. The dance between structure and freedom.
Oh, those sound like opposites.
They do. They sound like opposites.
How do they coexist?
He believes that structure, when approached as a framework,
not as a restriction,
can actually enhance our creative output.
So it's about
creating a container. For that creative energy to flow.
Okay, I like that.
He's a big advocate for a consistent creative practice.
So we need a structure, a routine.
A dedicated window of time.
To free up space for the magic to happen.
Yes.
Wow.
It doesn't have to be rigid.
No, it's about finding a rhythm that works.
Exactly.
Whether it's daily writing, a weekly jam session, spending time in nature.
Observe, absorb. It's about showing up for your creative self.
Showing up, that's key.
Consistency is key.
I like that.
He also acknowledges...
What's that?
That as creators gain recognition...
They get more famous?
They encounter pressures, deadlines, business concerns.
Expectations
of fans and collaborators.
Oh, it can be a lot.
It can be overwhelming.
So how do we deal with that?
He encourages artists to develop strategies for tuning out the noise. Safeguarding that internal space.
So create boundaries. To protect that spark.
Even
if you're collaborating.
Even if you need your own space.
You need your own
creative center.
To maintain that creative center.
So it's a balancing act.
It is a balancing act.
Between engaging with the world. Protecting your space. All right, makes sense.
And that brings us to this really evocative concept.
What's that?
That he calls the ecstatic.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
It's this visceral feeling.
A feeling
of excitement and rightness.
Like you're on the right track.
Like you're on the right path.
Like you're aligned.
You're tapped into something. To your purpose.
Truly special.
Okay, I think I felt that before.
It often accompanies those breakthrough moments.
Those aha moments.
When everything just clicks into place.
It's hard to describe, but you know it when you feel it. Like a rush of energy. A sense of clarity. Excitement. So he's saying, pay attention to those moments. Savor them. Let them guide you.
Let them be your guide.
Don't just chase them.
No, recognize them.
Use them.
When they arise.
As fuel.
He
says these moments are indicators.
They're indicators.
That we're aligning with a universal creative force.
That we're tapping into something.
Something bigger?
Bigger than ourselves.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is powerful.
So it's not just a good day at the office.
No, it's a connection. To a universal current.
Wow, okay, my mind is blown.
I know, it's a lot to take in.
This is good. And I'm already seeing how these ideas...
It applies to everything.
Apply to life.
To life in general.
Writing a song.
Starting a business.
Approaching life
with that sense of curiosity.
Playfulness.
This
is fantastic. I need a moment to process all this.
I know, me too.
It's a lot of good stuff.
It is.
We've only just begun.
I've only scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore.
There is. Ready for more, Ruben?
Oh, I am. My creative juices are flowing.
We were talking about the ecstatic.
Right, how to get there.
Well, it's not about forcing it. It's more like encouraging it.
All
practices like meditation, spending time in nature.
Okay.
He even suggests something called a greatness fast.
A greatness fast.
I know, it's interesting.
Tell me more.
It's about abstaining from media.
For a certain period of time.
That you wouldn't consider great.
Okay, so no mindless scrolling.
No reality TV. Pure inspiration.
Like a cleanse.
A cleanse for your creative palette.
I like that.
So you immerse yourself in the highest quality art.
Okay.
Whether it's music, literature, film.
Visual art.
It's about elevating your standards.
Makes sense.
Refining your taste.
Training your eye.
Yes, training your eye.
To recognize excellence.
To recognize and appreciate excellence.
And in the process.
You're expanding your vessel.
Okay, making room.
Making room for those creative sparks.
So clearing out the clutter.
Exactly.
He also talks about letting go.
Letting go of limiting beliefs.
So those are the worst.
The ones that tell us we're not good enough.
Not talented enough, not experienced enough.
Not whatever enough.
They can hold us back.
They can really hold us back.
Creatively.
He encourages us to cultivate a beginner's mind.
A beginner's mind? What's that?
It's approaching everything with curiosity.
Openness.
Like you're encountering it.
For the first time?
For the first time.
So shedding those preconceived notions.
Shedding those limitations.
Allowing ourselves to explore.
Explore new possibilities.
To be surprised.
To be surprised by what we discover.
So it's about giving ourselves permission.
Permission to experiment.
To make those mistakes.
To make mistakes and to learn from them.
Because that's how we learn.
Absolutely.
And he's all about experimentation, right?
Experimentation is key.
Imperfection.
Imperfection is part of the process.
We need to play.
We need to play, loosen up.
Loosen our grip.
On perfectionism.
Incorporate practices like free writing.
Free writing, dream journaling.
We talked about those earlier.
They can seem a bit woo-woo
to some people,
but he argues they can be incredibly effective
for unlocking
our hidden potential.
Our hidden potential, okay? I'm willing to try.
I encourage you to.
What's the harm in exploring?
Exactly. There's no harm.
Okay, so what about when we feel stuck?
Creative blocks.
Creatively stuck, my well has run dry.
He addresses that.
Does he?
He suggests that those blocks often arise from fear.
Self-doubt.
Self-doubt.
Lack of inspiration.
Lack of inspiration.
So what do we do?
He encourages us to address those underlying issues.
So instead of staring at the blank page,
go for a walk.
Listen to music.
Do something completely unrelated.
Step away.
Step away. Give your subconscious a chance.
To process, to percolate.
To percolate, exactly.
It's like when you're trying too hard to solve a problem.
You can get tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision.
Then when you relax,
the solution often appears.
It often appears.
Magically.
It can feel magical.
So the creative process is not linear.
He emphasizes that it's rarely linear.
There are going to be ups and downs.
Highs and lows.
Peaks and valleys.
Peaks and valleys, exactly.
We need to embrace that.
Embrace that cyclical nature.
Of creativity.
And trust that those fallow periods
are necessary
for growth and renewal.
I find that reassuring.
I do too.
Okay, so we talked about sensitivity.
Expanding our vessel.
Refining our filter.
Embracing imperfection.
Exploring our inner world.
Overcoming those blocks.
Anything else?
He emphasizes finding a balance, inspiration, and effort.
Can't just wait for inspiration.
No, you can't just sit around.
You have to put in the work.
You have to put in the work.
But if you're just grinding away,
without any spark,
it's not fulfilling.
Exactly. He acknowledges the allure of those magical moments.
When inspiration strikes.
When inspiration strikes.
Effortlessly.
Effortlessly.
But true artistry
involves effort.
Dedicated effort.
Dedicated effort. It's a process.
So inspiration provides the seed,
and
is the water and sunlight.
That helps it grow.
Beautiful analogy.
I like that one.
Finding that sweet spot.
Between being receptive
and putting in the work.
Putting in the work.
He also talks about rules again.
Rules, yes.
Didn't we cover that?
We touched on it.
About breaking the rules.
But it's worth revisiting.
Okay.
He suggests that while rules can be helpful,
they can become limitations.
If followed too dogmatically.
So we got to know when to bend them.
When to break them.
Like learning an instrument?
Yes, you need to understand the basics.
The techniques, the scales.
But once you master those,
you can improvise.
You can experiment and improvise.
And he highlights the role of feedback.
Feedback is crucial.
I thought that was something you got at the end.
It can be.
Of a project.
But he suggests seeking feedback.
Throughout the process.
Throughout.
So how does that work?
Share your work with trusted collaborators.
Mentors.
People whose opinions you value.
Who can give constructive criticism.
Exactly. So you can identify blind spots.
Early on.
Early on. Refine your ideas.
Create stronger work.
Stronger work. It's like having an extra set of eyes.
A fresh perspective.
A fresh perspective.
It's valuable.
To consider how others are perceiving our work.
Right, because sometimes we're too close.
We're too close to it.
To see it clearly.
To see it clearly.
So it's not about blindly following suggestions.
No.
It's about being open.
To different perspectives.
And using that.
To inform your choices.
Your creative choices.
Your creative choices.
He also talks about detachment. From the outcome.
Yes, from the outcome of our creative endeavors.
Isn't that counterintuitive?
It can feel that way.
I mean, we want people to love our work.
It's natural to desire recognition.
Appreciation.
Appreciation. But he's saying,
by releasing our attachment,
we free ourselves
to create
and to fully embrace the joy.
The joy of the process.
So it's about the journey.
Not the destination.
Not the destination. Okay.
Find fulfillment in the act of creation itself.
Not external validation.
Not external validation.
Powerful concept.
It is powerful.
If you're too focused on pleasing everyone,
you might lose sight of what truly inspires you.
What inspires you? That's right.
And that brings us to the cyclical nature of the process.
Cyclical, what's that?
He emphasizes that it's not a linear journey.
From A to B.
From A to B. It's more like a spiral.
A spiral.
With periods of intense creation.
Okay.
Followed by reflection, refinement.
Even dormancy.
Even dormancy.
Like the seasons of nature.
That's a great analogy. Growth and blossoming.
And then rest and renewal.
Okay. Embrace this cyclical nature.
Celebrate the highs and lows.
Trust that each phase
serves a purpose.
In our evolution as artists.
As human beings.
He seems to be emphasizing letting go of control.
Surrendering to the natural rhythms.
Of the process.
Of the process.
Approach creativity with curiosity.
Playfulness.
Willingness to embrace.
The unknown.
Let go of the need to control.
And you open yourself up.
To breakthroughs, discoveries.
Discoveries, exactly.
Trust the process.
Trust your intuition.
Trust that the creative energy
will guide you.
Will guide us, all right?
He talks about the source again.
The source. Haven't we covered that?
We have, but it's so fundamental.
Okay. I'm ready for more.
It's worth revisiting.
What else do we need to know?
He believes the source isn't this mystical entity. Oh. It's a universal force.
Available to everyone.
If we're open to it.
So we're all swimming in a sea.
Of creative potential.
We just need to learn to dive in.
That's a great way to put it.
How do we access this source?
Meditation.
Spending time in nature.
Cultivating a sense of awe and wonder.
Not isolating ourselves in a studio.
No, it's about creating a life.
A life
conducive to inspiration.
Open to possibility.
Open to possibility.
And wonder.
And wonder, exactly.
Creativity is not just what we do.
It's how we live.
How we live. That's profound.
It is.
What about translation? Like translating languages.
He uses the term translation to describe the process
of taking inspiration from the source
and transforming it
into something tangible.
Tangible, expressive.
So channeling it through our chosen medium.
Whether it's
music,
writing,
dance,
whatever form of expression.
So we need to become better translators.
Better translators.
By developing our craft.
Studying the masters.
Experimenting.
Pushing the boundaries.
Of our medium.
Yes. Honing our skills.
Expanding our knowledge.
Challenging ourselves.
To grow.
Trust our intuition.
Trust your intuition. Even when it leads us
in unexpected directions.
Those detours can be exciting.
They can be the most exciting.
Embrace the mystery.
The mystery of the process.
The source will guide us.
If you're willing to listen.
This is inspiring.
I'm glad.
I'm seeing creativity in a whole new light.
That's what Rubin does.
He does. He helps us see.
The potential.
In all of us.
In all of us and the world around us.
I need a moment to digest all this.
Let's take a breath.
And then we'll wrap things up.
With some key takeaways.
All right, time to synthesize all this Rubin wisdom.
Let's distill it into some actionable insights.
For our listeners.
Yes, for their own creative journeys.
I'm ready, hit me.
First takeaway. Creativity is a practice, not a destination.
So it's not about waiting for inspiration.
It's about consistent effort, experimentation.
Embracing imperfection.
Embracing imperfection, exactly.
Show up, explore, make mistakes, learn.
That's the process.
Second takeaway. Everyone has creative potential.
It's not limited to artists.
It's a human capacity.
Expressed in countless ways.
We all have an inner artist.
Waiting to be unleashed.
Love that. So empowering.
Third takeaway. We access this potential through sensitivity.
Paying attention to details, subtleties.
Things others miss.
Exploring our inner landscape.
Thoughts, feelings, memories, dreams.
It's all connected.
It is. It all informs our creative expression.
Expanding our vessel, refining our filter.
That's right. Fourth takeaway. Immerse ourselves in greatness.
Surround ourselves with inspiring art.
Music, literature, film, nature.
Feed our creative soul.
With masterpieces, exactly.
Fifth takeaway. Refine our filter, our lens of perception.
Explore different perspectives, challenge assumptions.
Develop a critical eye.
For our work and the work of others.
Cultivate a discerning taste.
Know what resonates and why.
Sixth takeaway. Collaboration.
Collaboration is powerful.
It's magical.
Different minds coming together, sparking something new.
Rubin agrees.
Open communication, mutual respect, shared commitment.
Creates a synergy.
Amplifies individual creativity.
Finding the right collaborators.
People who inspire, challenge, support.
Seventh takeaway. The creative process is unpredictable.
Rarely linear, often messy, chaotic.
Twists and turns.
Embrace the detours.
They can lead to exciting discoveries.
Opportunities for growth and innovation.
Trust the process. Trust our intuition.
Be willing to adapt.
Eighth takeaway. Balance between structure and freedom.
Routine can enhance creativity.
Freeing up mental space.
For inspiration.
Ninth takeaway. Protect our creative space.
From external pressures.
It's so easy to get overwhelmed.
Create boundaries, dedicated time, minimize distractions.
A sanctuary for our creative selves.
Disconnect from noise, reconnect with inner voice.
10th takeaway. Detachment from the outcome.
Release attachment to specific results.
Sounds counterintuitive.
Create authentically. Experience joy in the process.
Shift focus from external validation
to internal fulfillment.
Wow, what a journey.
We've covered so much.
Nature of creativity, sensitivity, collaboration.
Cyclical process. 10 actionable takeaways.
A whole new toolkit for my creative work.
I'm excited for you.
Creativity is a lifelong practice.
Ongoing exploration.
Always more to learn, discover, create.
That's the spirit.
That concludes our deep dive into Rick Rubin's The Creative Act.
Thanks for joining us.
Hope this sparked some ideas.
Inspired you to tap into your potential.
The creative impulse resides within us all.
Nurture it, explore it, express it.
Go forth and create.
Embrace the mystery. Let the journey unfold.
In all its unexpected beauty.